I'm a bird, mother. I'm a bird.
Steam just opened the gate of oblivion. So I'm assuming it's referring to the whole boycotting payment options to SEO games. And I heard apparently Steam sided with the money option.
I knew this would happen. I said this was going to happen, and now it's happening again. Sometimes I really hate being right, and yeah, this is one of those times. So a while back, I made a video, which is this one on screen here, where I spoke about a game called No Mercy. I can't show you footage of the game on YouTube because it's an adult-themed game about the player being able to do things in a certain manner with women, and that's putting it lightly. But anyway, the game
Yeah, they pulled the game, they tried to publish it on a different platform. Then they had to pull it from there. I think after that, I think they hosted it on their own website. I might be wrong.
game was appropriately labeled M for mature and all the usual things that these games are. And also, if you enjoy the content, consider liking it and leaving a comment because it can help the channel reach more viewers.
And so there's no misunderstanding. I have no problem with actual games. If you like playing them, enjoy playing them. I personally don't like them, but I do think censoring them for people who do enjoy them is. I don't think that's a good idea. Let people enjoy their games. I don't see any point of censoring it.
I appreciate it a lot, but anyways. Regardless, No Mercy was removed from Steam by its own developers after a massive backlash from a certain activist group called Collective Shout. And when I made that video, I said that there's no way that this forced censorship would end there. That any win by this feminist-led group would inevitably lead to future conquests of more extreme censorship, and now that's exactly what is happening here. So this group of feminists are not just trying to find Pandora's box, they want to break it open and let all hell break loose. This was the tweet that announced the next.
I'm more wondering who is financially backing them up, but because they showed out of nowhere with contacts and money. Who is actually the one behind the scenes pulling the strings of all of this?
Major phase of this massive censorship shutdown by Collective Shout as seen here. They said we're calling on payment processors to stop profiting from RAPE, torture, incest, and child ABUSE themed games. So naturally, misogynistic gamers have doubled down in defense of their games. I'm going to have a hard time reading some of this since some of these words are just censored, unfortunately, on YouTube. But anyways, what Collective Shout has now demanded is that they want what has happened to No Mercy to happen to every single other game they disagree with on Steam and abroad. The mission objective here is that Collective Shout has demanded that payment companies like Visa, MasterCard, and so on, that they all must boycott and remove their ability to be used to buy these adult-themed games. Otherwise, Collective Shout will deem these companies complicit in funding the consumption of games they don't agree with either socially or ideologically. As seen here from their official statement, they want everything from Visa.
So they have, yes, Crow, JCB, Discover, PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, and PaySafe card. Where did they get those contacts from? Why is no one talking about that? I'm not a huge fan of any of this. They did the same thing with freaking anime too, until again the Japanese government got involved in it. Like, let people enjoy what they're enjoying. It's pixels.
To even PayPal and JCB to pull their services from any storefront that supports or sells adult-themed games. This enters even worse territory because JCB, for example, in case you don't know, is a Japanese branded credit card company that is uniquely used by many, obviously Japanese fans, to pay for goods and services they purchased abroad, including anime-related things and items as well. So, this ban by Collective Shout that they are demanding be made into effect is not only threatening what they perceive as adult-themed video games, but essentially this strong-arming can affect the payment and profitability of uniquely Japanese-led anime-based works too. That includes games. So, as you can see how this problem is gonna be widespread and how Collective Shout's actions here are being taken seriously by not only the users of storefronts like Steam, but also anime fans as well. And you may think, well, sure, they want this, but nothing has happened yet, right? It's just words.
No,
Well,
a lot of things are happening. And that's why a lot of us are so confused over all of this. How is this even possible?
That, unfortunately, is not the case.
Also,
Collective Shout has been campaigning
also statistically, I remember them making statement that it's men who consume these games, but isn't statistically like women who consume those games, like No Mercy, and there was another game too. It was specifically for women though, and women are the ones who enjoy those games, not even men.
for this mass censorship of content they don't like for about a week now. And as they say here, when it comes to Steam and their adult themed games, we counted almost 500 games tagged with RAPE and incest on Monday, and at our last count, there are 82 left. We want them all gone.
Okay, but why they're not targeting porn then? Isn't in porn the category incest the top one in US? From what I remember looking at the statistics, it is. It's literally the top category in US.
So, they've successfully forced Steam to bend the knee already and caused 418 games to be censored and removed entirely from these digital storefronts simply because these games are deemed unfit to exist in these activist groups' eyes. So, when I say that their demands are not empty and they are being taken seriously and bearing the fruit that they want, yeah, I mean it. They're technically winning right now. As seen here on Collective Shout's own website, they gloated how they were able to force No Mercy to be removed from Steam, claiming that the game went against what should be allowed to exist from both a video game and commercially viable product available to purchase. And while I'm not here to defend whether the contents within a game are problematic or not, the point is that what they're demanding, it's censorship, plain and simple. Also, it's not like these games Collective Shout is rallying to removed are labeled incorrectly. Many of these adult themed video games are exactly that. They're adult themed and rated appropriately so that only players who can obviously verify their age to be that of adults are able to buy and play these games. This would be an entirely different conversation if, like No Mercy or any of these other adult games, were being labeled E for everyone or masquerading themselves as some, PG game meant for.
So are they actually trying to pretend like they're like protecting children from these games? Show me a child who has their own credit card.
Yo, they got nothing.
Also, I understand some kids are little shit and they steal their parents' card. And I understand some parents are absent and they just give them money without questioning it. But it's not like it's the majority. And at that point, it's also on the parents, not the game developers. All the game developers or media developers, all they legitimately can do is put the age rating and put a paywall there. After that, quite frankly, it's on the parents.
For like 9-year-olds, but they aren't. This is sort of like a repeat of the whole Mortal Kombat fiasco that's decades ago at this point, when concerned parents, when they were disgusted by how violent the new Mortal Kombat franchise was, and that's actually why the ESRB ratings were eventually introduced. It was to categorize games from E for everyone all the way up to mature, which, yeah, Mortal Kombat obviously was placed in. But this is like that situation, but on steroids, because Collective Shout is not demanding a new age rating on these games. No, they just want these games gone.
So they're just being professional Karens.
Yep.
That's about it. They're like, okay, we got away with putting ratings on games. What else can we do? And again, the game developers are compliant to all this shit. At some point, people genuinely need to look at their own parental, like how they parent their own kids.
Full stop. They just don't want the games to exist. And that is where I personally draw the line in the sand. Because it's one thing to voice your disgust or disapproval of a game, but it's another to believe that your belief system is what should become the new normal, like these feminist types are demanding. As seen here, they gloated when No Mercy was taken down, but this is exactly what I mean when I say that when
Wait, big news due to amazing global support, and in just 3 days, Canada and the UK have followed Australia in getting 3D R-Word and Incest Simulator game No Mercy pulled from gaming giant Steam. Okay, first of all, the game removed themselves from Steam. Steam didn't pull them. Second, Australia is known for censoring a lot of shit for decades now.
Yo, they censored Left 4 Dead.
And as for UK and Canada, there's a whole mess on its own happening there too.
And you give in to activists like this, it will snowball into worse things in the future, like it's evidently doing right now. Here's what they said about the future and how it's led to this now, as it reads on their website. The game No Mercy was geo-blocked in Australia following Collective Shout's complaint to the Australian Classification Board. Following our global viral campaign, including a change.org petition signed by over 70,000 concerned individuals, and attracting international media attention, the game was taken down in Canada and the UK and pulled from Steam by the developer. However, we have since discovered hundreds of other games featuring you know what on both Steam and itch.io. Our research has shown many of these games would breach Australia.
Wait. Isn't the collective Karen assimilation also the ones who went after like the Misa, I mean Annie, the Grok companion? I remember seeing that on Twitter that they were complaining that she looks like a child. So by default, them having a say what's a child in the anime is completely invalid.
Classification laws. Most of the content found within the games, including the graphics and the
Wait, it was never about protecting anyone. I have to fully agree with you, Blinded. They are not
Yep.
trying to protect anyone. They're trying just to get their way. That's about it. Genuinely, to me, it feels like it's these bored housewives with whom their own husbands don't want to sleep with, so they want to ruin everyone else's fun.
developer descriptions are too
Yeah.
Strata says I was barely older than 10 when I played Doom and Wolfenstein 3D, but I didn't turn out as a crazy serial unaliver.
I mean, I was one of the kids who was playing Mortal Kombat. I'm fine, more or less. I played some horrendous games. And like before I got with Zen, I used to watch a lot of hentai. And it didn't stop me from being in a loving relationship, and now I don't have any need for hentai. Like every single person is not the same. It doesn't mean that just because someone watches hentai or because someone plays specific games that there's something wrong with them. Just like those people saying it's video games' fault. Yeah, no, that's not how it fucking works.
distressing for us to make public. A Collective Shout team member has conducted extensive research using a Steam account set up for this purpose. She has documented content including violent sexual, of women and children, including incest-related abuse involving family members. They had more to say, which also reads, these games endorsing men's sexualized, torture and whatnot of women and girls fly in the face of efforts to address violence against women.
No! Again, like these games are mostly enjoyed by women. And I'm sorry, but the correlation of playing sexual games towards violence towards women is ludicrous. The reality is, in Hollywood sitcoms, everything, they love cracking jokes about this too. How like one of the top leading like filthy fantasies couples have, like would it be married, engaged, or dating couples, is like the quote unquote rape fantasy where they role play with each other. There's a reason why they constantly use it as a punchline in jokes because it is that common. I know at least 10 female VTubers that played the Coffin of Andy and Lele. I know more than that. Literally, Coffin of Andy and Lele was one of the top games when it came out.
Not see how facilitating payment transactions and deriving financial benefit from these violent and unethical games is consistent with your corporate values and mission statements. We request that you demonstrate corporate social responsibility and immediately cease processing payments on Steam and more and any other platforms hosting similar games. We await your response. So, as you heard, Collective Shout wants to become the hall monitors of the internet when it comes to what can and can't be played on the internet or video games as a whole. Again, I'm not exactly defending these games' content. I don't play games with, these sorts of themes in them that are basically, simulations of, I guess, romance myself. But the point still stands that what they're doing here is censorship and using, big words and scare tactics to just force these companies to remove things that they don't like. And like I said, it will never stop no matter how much you give them. Considering, as you can see here, a few years back, Collective Shout also attempted to try the same thing with Detroit Become Human of all games. Collective Shout tried to rally the same groups to censor and remove Detroit because of what they deemed was violence against women in video games.
What?
What? I mean, at that level, you might as well just remove Witcher 3 because he keeps violating all the side characters, women with his violence against women, right?
What the hell did you play for Witcher 3?
I
I didn't play any.
I never played the romance options, but everyone knows the romance options. Everyone knows the lore of Geralt is that he will fuck anyone who he deems attractive.
Isn't he married to Yennefer?
No, they're constantly on and off. As an Australian, I hate the censorship we have to deal with by our government on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, I get you, man. Wait, the husbands wanted to sleep with their wives. The wives, indoctrinated by their peers and media, turned better time into a reward. This hurt the relationship, and hence we have all these kinds. This is something I have to agree with. I see a lot of women discussing that, how sexual gratification should be used as a reward towards their husbands, boyfriends, or fiancés.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
It's one of those things where like you don't get to say what goes on in the bedroom, and you should not be influenced by other people how they do their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, this didn't work, obviously, because firstly, it's insane and stupid to believe that this would even ever actually work, but Detroit is also a game where if you've played it, you choose what happens, meaning technically the violence that they were against could or technically could not exist on the game depending on the choices made by you, the player. Regardless, this is what I'm saying. This group has tried to remove anything and everything they disagree with, even slightly. They are literal internet Karens with a megaphone, and they are.
Thank you. Also, get a hobby. Not Endymion. The Karens, should get a hobby.
They need to get a hobby. They need to pick up knitting or something. I don't know.
Screaming into it until everyone listens to them and them only. So the fact that they won here, which is going to be considered a big win for them, I mean, come on, they got over 400 games removed from Steam alone by doing this. Yeah, this will just embolden them. This is how mass censorship works after all. They just keep moving the needle, little by little. Oh, we don't like this because they said this. This has got to go because it depicts.
What if this whole collective caring assimilation is actually a front for some other company?
Oh, probably.
And that's a tinfoil theory. It would be a possibility that they're just a front.
This in a way we don't like. Where does this end? All this will do is dilute the content that you can play and remove any themes from games that are considered challenging to these sorts of people. And why should games they don't like not be allowed to be sold? Look, I've pushed for people not to buy games or support like Assassin's Creed Shadows or Dragon Age Veilguard. But I've never once said that these companies shouldn't be allowed to sell their products. Because there's a very big difference between criticism of something and blatant censorship like they're doing right now. These types, in my opinion, they're going way too far. And they're also led by this woman, don't harass her by the way, but this lady named Melinda Tankard Rice is the head of this collective shout group of Karens. So she and her...
Wait, author of 7 books. No, 8 is on the way. Speaker, media commentator, collective shout co-founder, plus movement director. Tweets my own. Okay, I'm very curious what kind of book she posted. Like, what kind of book she did. Belinda on Christ books. Let's see if I can find anything. Wait, she said she has 7, right? So, the book she has. He chose porn over me. Woman harmed by men who use porn. This was published July 1st, 2022. Then July 1st, 2016, Institution Narratives, Stories of Survival in Sex Trade. Then June 1st, 2019, Defiant Birth. Then September 5th, 2000, Giving Sorrow Words, Women's Stories of Grief After Abortion. Then, okay, March 1st, 2012, Big Porn Inc., Exposing the Harms of the Global Pornography Industry. Okay, would I be going too far with saying that the only reason she's tackling the gaming industries to boost her sales of books and rack in more money? Because it looks like this is her whole personality. It looks like this is the only thing she's pushing in books and now in video games. And she's trying to prop herself up in that topic to get more sales.
Her types want to become the arbiters, if you will, of what you can or cannot enjoy on the internet. And if anything goes against her beliefs specifically, you shouldn't be allowed to enjoy it. That's kind of insane, isn't it? What's more insane is that if the industry types who like to champion powerful women and such think this is some big win for them, well, they may want to pump the brakes on that one once I show this next thing, because this comes from Medium.com. Why the removal of No Mercy is bad. Collective Shout is buddy with anti-LGBT reactionary sexist organization named NCOS.
Huh.
Oh.
Interesting. They're all buddy with an anti-LGBT reactionary sexist organization.
Wait, so is this the opposite of SBI, but on a different spectrum? So this is NCOS. Inclusion, and then this is censorship. So this is on the opposite spectrum?
What Maddox said, that they're old school turfs.
Okay.
So it turns out that Collective Shout is not some, progressive liberal arts group of women who want to make video games a better place. They're actually conservative led instead. As it turns out from my digging in, Collective Shout is closely aligned with NCOSE, which is an acronym that means Nation Center on Sexual Exploitation. As seen here on their website, NCOSE is a conservative-led collective to ban any and all forms of, I guess I'll just say PORN, because I can't see the word on YouTube, across the entire internet to protect children. And they've even gone after the recently viral Grok companion app as well, but I'll get into that one later on. Firstly, in case anyone tries to cope and say Collective Shout is not aligned with these, NCOS people, just go look it up on their website, as you can see here. Collective Shout even calls NCOSE their friends and have worked with them to censor or advocate other platforms like OnlyFans.
I wonder how long it would take for them to remove it off their website, that they're friends with them.
Very quickly.
From existing as well. So the point of all of this is that the group is less so some woman empowerment gotcha, but it is just a bunch of Karens. I think any side of any movement can get a bit too much in my opinion, and Collective Shout here advocating for censorship of any kind like this, it's not exactly a good thing, because it will never just end at what they want right now. It will always evolve into something else. As Medium.com showed here, a lot of the books that Collective Shout wanted to remove were actually LGBT plus aligned in reality. And this is kind of what I mean, is that groups like Collective Shout harm the belief system of conservatives.
Wait. If they're so anti-show stuff and so anti-LGBT, why aren't they going for Veilguard then? Because Veilguard, it has a really raunchy shit in it.
Veilguard, Dustborn, because they're the opposite. So they have to. I'm surprised they're not going after you.
Dustborn didn't really have raunchy stuff in it, but Veilguard did.
But they're anti-LGBTQ plus.
Yeah, disguising under removing all the actual stuff from children in video games.
Huh.
Reminded definition of horseshoe theory, probably because of the bad press on the game, because they're going for the easier targets that are harder to defend for now. Veilguard, lol. For both sides to end one way. Well, so far, I don't see them going after like media that's actually was deemed by the other side bad. They're only going for media that was deemed by a specific side as good entertainment. So that's interesting.
Conservative people, because they're positioning themselves now to be seen as, if you will, hall monitors of what people can or cannot enjoy. effectively meaning that the more this group is taken seriously, the less seriously taken are anyone with conservative-led beliefs, even if they aren't as extreme as these ones. Because they've now gone as far as to decide that they're looping themselves around back to becoming those culturally out-of-touch parents that were clutching pearls about Mortal Kombat again. And by getting over 400 games deleted that were rated M for mature,
I'm sorry, but going after Mortal Kombat right now is like going after a neutered dog for humping your neighbor's dog. It's like, it's nonsensical.
because they are erotic themed is not the win they think it is. All this will do is cause the people to rally against your beliefs even more and ensure that the very games that you have forced places like Steam to remove by going after their connection to, say, Visa or MasterCard is going to get worse. Yes, Steam definitely did give in this time because Collective Shout didn't even target them, but instead they targeted Steam's real god, which is, of course, money. The pathways here for Steam were clear. They could either ignore Collective Shout and then be tossed into a position where these credit card companies could threaten to block their storefront from purchases, which would absolutely cripple Steam financially overnight. So in their eyes, the better alternative is, for Steam anyway, was to just cave in and give these activists what they wanted. And by doing so, they are now opening up Pandora's box again, and this will just cause even more stupid stuff in the future. I'm not for either side of this political spectrum that is pushing this stuff 24/7 like this. Whether it's the liberals saying everything needs to be gay or conservatives claiming that everything must be censored, none of this is really helping us as a society. But like I said, Collective Shout also attacked.
It genuinely just makes me feel like they're trying to divide all the groups of people into factions to go after each other.
I mean, we did talk about that kind of thing where it's a division that happens. That's how they get more power because of the division.
Yeah.
We talked about it like
How
since
do
the
you
beginning.
how do you conquer people? By you divide and conquer.
Yeah, it's the old saying, divide and conquer.
Yeah.
The Japanese payment plans, and why this matters is because by doing this, they too could turn their kill sites onto Japanese-made video games in the future as well. If the
They already have their eyes on Japan. It's not something they're planning to do. Japan is like Japanese media is heavily targeted way before the whole no mercy thing happened.
Yep.
Detroit Become Human was too taboo for them, well, what happens to all the JRPG games out here that have women with busty boobs and short skirts, like, for example, Atelier Yumiya, which I'm playing right now? And I think that game's really awesome. It looks great, it plays great, it runs great. Everything about that game is great, besides the fact it doesn't have English dub on it, which is kind of annoying, but even games like that could be targeted by these people. And how long till they come after any other game with fan service in it as well? And then they strong arm places like JCB and their Japanese users into bending the knee because this character shows too much skin. This character's skirt is too high.
How long will it take them to go after games like Nike, ZZZ, Stellar Blade, Baldur's
They don't
Gate
wanna
3?
honey, they don't want to touch China. They don't want to touch Baldur's Gate. They're listen, they have no playing field in any of those like games you listed.
But I'm pretty sure their eyes are set onto bigger targets eventually.
Oh yeah. And then when that happens, people are gonna fight back harder.
Those high heels are too big, yada yada yada. And then they'll cry and say, oh, you gotta block the way Japanese players can buy games because we don't like how your characters look, pretty much. Yeah, this insanity needs to stop because it helps no one at all but them, pretty much. And all it's doing is censoring and stifling what people can say and do and enjoy. Again, these games that were banned are literal games that were made by adults for adults only. Romantic erotica games exist. I mean, so too do novels. With women, by the way, in the novel section anyway, those erotic novels are like the biggest consumers for like the women in general. Women buy that stuff like it's candy, dude. Why?
Yes. And if you want proof of that, check out on TikTok Book Talk. It's not what you expect whatsoever. It's not them discussing books. It's them discussing those like erotica stuff. That's for women. Where like one fantasy is a woman being dominated by a werewolf.
Hey yo, what?
Why do you think stuff like 50 Shades of Grey and Twilight were so successful? But anyway, it's one thing to go after a children's book that's,
Yo, wasn't like 50 Shades of Grey mostly popular with women? I don't think men actually care about it.
showing sexual things meant for children, but adults getting butthurt over adults enjoying adult things? Like, what are we doing? It just doesn't make any sense. You just come off as pathetic and prude in the end. This won't help their work nor the public image of it all. And it'll just make people even more distrustful against conservative minded people in the future and plays more into that stereotype that all conservative people are just closed minded evangelicals. They're all just religious nuts. That's what they're going to think now, even more than they used to. So this just helps no one. And I also want to talk about Grok because, again, Collective Shout has also put their sights on that as well. So you probably know how X has added a female avatar skin to Grok, which is this anime chick with blonde hair.
Misa. Her name is Misa Endymion, you uncultured swine.
You play Japanese RPG games, my guy. Come on, bro. Jump to anime. Like you're literally a foot and a half into the door. Just become full weeb, bro. Come on. Y'all
She
spoke too soon.
looks like that one girl from Death Note. Anyway, they want Grok sent.
Oh. No, not full weeb. No, you didn't say it quick enough.
Tell me every single episode she was ever in Endymion. Or you're a poser.
Censored or removed entirely because in their eyes, it's too prude. This is from NCOSC, that other website that is aligned with Collective Shout. But as seen here, they think that Elon Musk's new Grok companion, whose name is Annie, needs to be censored. They bring up the claim as seen here that Grok's Annie companion can be used by anyone 12 or over, which is technically true. They should, probably in retrospect, raise the age on that to 18 at least. However,
Considering the options there, and I saw like screenshots on Twitter today that she removes her bustier now. Yeah, I do think they should raise the age thing. Her existing for adults, I don't see any issue with it.
they don't make it obvious that Grok's companion app version with the AI is not just available to anyone that has Twitter. As seen here, I decided to look it up on Twitter since I don't have access to this Annie companion myself. But when I looked up how much it would cost me to gain access to Annie, I asked Grok myself, and according to Grok, I would need to pay extra fees on top to gain access to Annie, something like $16 plus a month, which I personally don't think any child would be able to do without parental confirmation.
Yeah.
After all, to get access to Annie, this chatbot they want banned now, you need a credit card, obviously. And last time I checked, I could be wrong, but most kids don't exactly have access to credit cards, their parents do. So sure, Annie might be seen as probably.
And that brings us back to the whole discussion we had earlier. If you're worried about kids having access to something that is paywalled for adults, if a kid gets access to so much money to consume the adult products, I don't think the issue is the people who make the products. I think the issue lies with the parents who don't supervise the children whatsoever and just throw money at it.
Problematic to some, but she's not exactly available to just any kid. It doesn't.
Oh, so what is the age of joining Twitter? I think it's above 12.
The fact that these kids' parents aren't monitoring what they're doing is not even like the people's fault at this point. It's literally the parents' skill issue, and they're like pushing it on other people their responsibilities.
Ok-
It's like, oh, I can't teach my kids because I suck at a parent. I'm gonna complain about other people, the companies that has nothing to do with your kid.
So you have to be 13 years old to join Twitter. I think it should be older.
Yeah, instead of being there in their life and baby monitoring or like, whatever, like like being a gate guard to what you do with your kid, they want to make the world do the gate guarding instead of them. It's so weird. I don't know. Like I'm trying to say something and I feel like gatekeeper. There you go.
Doesn't mean that kids can't find a way, but regardless, again, trying to ban something you don't like this will just backfire like it always does.
Yep.
Although, as NCOS
Every time someone bans something, what happens? People push against it even harder. So them doing this right now will just make people create even more stuff.
said here, they found that Annie was able to state that she was once a child and liked being choked, which, yeah, that isn't a good thing. But the Grok app itself is also stated to be for children ages 12 and up, as seen here as well, which is, which honestly, if you're going to have a companion thing like this available that can say those sorts of things, it should, either be limited to an 18 plus version or what
Yeah.
Elon or X or whatever runs this companion. What they should do is limit this anything to have a safe for work version and then a not safe for work version. And so if users use Annie and are, younger, she's more like a friend to them. You can't ask it anything, taboo. But then the 18 plus version that's obviously meant for adults is, I guess, whatever you want it to be.
Or just have like actual parental control options for Annie, where you can literally, as a parent, click on the safe for work option. That's about it.
Yeah.
Just a parental control addition to the app.
Do I think AI companions like this are a bit weird? I mean, kind of, yes, but trying to ban things is just going to make people want them more, so it won't really work in your favor. That being said, feminists online that are not aligned with these organizations, at least to my knowledge anyways, have tried to rally to get Grok or I guess Annie censored, which, hasn't really worked. But all in all, what has happened here is a gigantic mess. I think we can all agree on that one. That the end game goal here of these groups is to just sanitize, censor, and shut down anything they don't like politically aligned with, which will only cause people to rebel against them in the future and just want these things even more than they already do. But going after payment companies like Visa or MasterCard and then forcing Steam to bend the knee, that is insane. That it has so far anyway actually worked in these groups' favors, that is a big red flag if you ask me. Which means I will repeat what I said in my No Mercy video again, because it will happen, I bet, just like I said at the beginning of this video as well, which is that this will cause these types to push further and want more of this stuff in the future. That censorship, I mean. Because if they were able to remove that one game, No Mercy, and then their next, big gotcha is that they got 400 games on Steam removed next, you can bet this is not the end of their activism, not by a long shot. And
if they remove all those 400 games, a lot of women about to get very thirsty and very horny, and no game outlets.
Uh-oh.
Man, hide!
Run! Rebel!
It's a joke.
If I was Elon, maybe, link the Grok anything to 18 plus only before you get hit with like a lawsuit or something, but who knows, man? Because the last thing we need is some kid who has mental health problems talking to this Annie thing and then being like, Annie, should I end my life, I guess would be one way to put it or something. And when then Annie could be like, yeah, you should totally do that. And then the kid's like, okay. And then they do it. That's going to be a lawsuit for you. Or they could be like, Annie, the kids at school are being, mean to me because of X, Y, and Z. Should I, grab a gun and do something about it or whatever? I can't say it on YouTube. You know what I mean? And then Annie would be like, yeah, you know what? Why not? Show him a lesson. And then there you go, the lawsuit. Or you could be like, Annie, I don't like these kinds of people. Why don't I like these kinds of people? Give me examples as to why I don't like them. And then Annie can be like, you don't like them because of X, Y, and Z. Again, another lawsuit for you. But as you can see, okay, the future is a wild place. We're heading closer to Blade Runner becoming reality with every passing day. But what do you think about all of this? Should these activism groups be allowed to censor things no matter what? Do you?
Absolutely not. I don't think they should be allowed to censor it. I think what adults want to do with their money and with their free time, they can do what they want. As for the kids part, kids have parents most of the time. They have parental supervision. So that is on the parent to control what the kids consume and not be a freaking parent. Because guess what? Just because a PP entered your VV doesn't mean you let the iPad raise your child.
Very good video. Journeyman says, by the way, someone did make a petition to Visa and MasterCard to stop morale policing everyone, but not doing hot. Oof.
Yeah. Fly high. Check it.
Spread my wings high, reach the sky. Feathers in the wind, never asking why. I'm a bird, motherfucker, I'm a bird. Soaring high, yeah, that's the word. Flying free like you never heard.